Let's talk money. Before we get started, let me let you know that this is not investment advice, but this is what's worked for me through the years. And I know if you give it a chance, it may just work for you. Number one, I talked to you the other day and I told you about look up certain stuff like dollar cost averaging, rule of 72, index funds, and also ETF funds. So let's start out with the rule of 72. The way the rule of 72 works is if you take 72 and divide it by the interest that you are making and compound that, it tells you how long it takes for your money to double. So let's say if you have an 8% interest on your money, then your money doubles about every 9 years. If you have a 10% interest on your money, then it doubles every 7 years. Now, to you, it may seem a little strange, but it's not. Rich people has been doing this for years. They also have been dollar cost averaging, and they start out with a bulk fund. Now we say, how do we get money to start out? We get income tax. During COVID, we got all kind of free money, and people got extra money for kids. We could have been doing it. We may have to cut a little bit out of Christmas. There's no Santa Claus anyway. Or we may not be able to get our nails done as much as we want to, or our feet done as much as we want to. We may have to cut back on smoking those cigarettes or those left-handed cigarettes. You know the ones I'm talking about. We may not be able to buy the Michael Kors purses or the Michael Jordan tennis shoes or the stuff that we are trying to keep up with the Joneses with when the Joneses can't keep up with the Joneses. We have to be smarter as people so that we can live a fruitful, more happier life. And that way, when you get old, you don't find yourself still working for a living, punching a clock. So let's talk dollar cost averaging. How does that work? It's basically money you set aside every month to put into your investment fund that grows. And every time you get a raise, you up that a little bit. Pay yourself first. You know, we as people give money to the church, and the pastors walk around driving stinking Lincolns and Escalades. But you're still got the same suit on, or you buying another one to try to keep up with the other person at the church is trying to keep up with the other person at the church. And it's a never ending circle, especially in our community. We have to do better than that. So let's talk about this. The rule of 72, we already told you what it takes to make your money double. I know it sounds crazy. It may not even sound like it worked, but it does. Please look it up. Let's just take this for instance. If you would have put $5,000 in an account 20 years ago and only added $200 a month, which is only $2,400 a year, you would have about $120,000. You've only put in $29,000. Now let's see how do we make that work and grow even faster. So you get your income tax back, or you got money from your side hustle doing hair, whatever you're doing. You put that in there to start. So you drop 5 grand. And after that, you start putting at least $200 a month in there. And then if you can't put the $200 a month, when you get that income tax back at the end of the year, put that 2,400 in there and watch that money grow and develop. And don't touch it. I'm telling you, it works. If for some reason you do work a job and it does have a 401k, please do what they at least match if you can't do anything else. Your ultimate goal is to get at least to 15% of your income. So let's break down this money thing of the rule of 72 and dollar cost averaging. And I'm going to share with you on this video of the personal stuff that I personally invest in when it comes to index funds and ETFs. Let's talk with an index fund. An index fund is only a fund that follows the index of the stock market, either S&P or the Dow Jones or the NASDAQ. And when you talk about ETFs, they're the same way. So I've messed with two companies when it comes to index funds and ETFs. My first company for index funds is Fidelity. And I will share with you some of the funds that I have with Fidelity myself. One is Fidelity U.S. Bond Fund. Why? Because most people say 10% of your income or 10% of what you invest should go into a bond fund. And then I have the Fidelity 500 index fund, which follows the S&P 500, and they will say put 45% into that. And then the other 45% should go into a total index fund, which tracks the whole total stock market. See, sometimes people say, oh, that's not sexy enough. But that's guarantee you pretty much, if you look at the history of the market, you're going to be doing 10 to 15% in those funds. Why is that possible? Well, you ask people like some of the richest guys in the world, that's what they do with their money. You know, one of the guys who invented Vanguard, Mr. Jeff Bogle, that's what he did with his money all the way to his death, and his family is still living off of that to now, in today's world. So let's think about this. Some of the ETFs I buy those from where? Vanguard, because Vanguard is one of the first. They actually invented the mutual fund, but I use their ETFs. Why? Because the low price that it costs to have it. So I have VTI, which is Vanguard Total Stock Market. I have VOO, which is Vanguard S&P. And then I have also a total bond. Yeah, there's a 3 bond funds, and they pretty much follow the same as my other investment, but they're different companies, managed a little bit different way, and they make a little bit different. Then you can always branch out and diversify your money later. We'll talk about that, other investments that I do later. For the time period, I don't want to go no more than 10 minutes on this video. So one of the places I do my Vanguard through is actually through a company called M1 Finance, because if you go straight to Vanguard, you have to put so much into it. M1 Finance has a free platform to invest in on. I'm not getting paid for this, and I'm not a professional investment advisor, but I'm telling you what I do. I don't buy the one that costs. I just do the free one, and I set up my 3-fund portfolio through them, and I use the Vanguard funds. I use the total market, I use the S&P Vanguard fund, and then I use the U.S. bond fund through Fidelity. Through Vanguard. And then on my Fidelity, that's through my work. I match my match, but also now make sure that every year I max out. You're allowed to max out right now if you're over the age of 50, $27,000 a year. So I'll put $27,000 a year in there. It reduces my taxes. If you're not there yet, it doesn't matter. My children even match at least the minimum. You can set your 401k or your IRA to actually creep up every year 1% automatically, which is okay. Think about it. Your raise is going to be probably at least 3%. Give 1% back to yourself. I say again, we give 10% to the church. We give this to whoever. We have to stop doing that. I'm not saying not to give to the church, but if you're not saving for yourself, the church is going to be okay. God does not need your money. And the church who's been building the church for the last 20 years definitely don't need your money. Church funds not supposed to last forever. And if the pastor's living good, then you should be living good too. Because don't say he's blessed. He's not. He's blessed off of your dime. So let's get our stuff back in check. I'm sorry, pastors out there. I know you're going to be mad. You can drop some comments down in the box. It doesn't bother me one bit. You know, even Creflo Dollar came back and said how the tide was. You know why? Because we are holding that over people's head, make them think they're going to go to hell, or they're not going to be blessed, or this and that. First of all, giving has nothing to do with blessings of your money. If it did, people in Africa would be rich too, and I know some of them are drinking out of mud pits right now. God bless the just and the unjust. That's why people who don't believe are still rich. The only thing he's doing for us is making us go to heaven. But this rule of 72 will help you with your investments. So start putting money back into yourself. Start doing this dollar cost averaging where you give to yourself regularly. And then every year when you get a raise, you raise that up a little bit. When you get extra money doing income tax time, you put that in there. You may not be able to get your nails done, but rich people, and I know some of them, they don't drive the Escalades and all this. They don't worry about the newest thing or the newest fad. They don't worry about that because they're stacking their money We need to get that too. If you want to build real wealth, you have to get into the market. Your money under your mattress does not save nothing. You smoking it away does not save nothing. You wearing new nails, new hair, new everything else does not save nothing. One day it'll come and you'll look back and you'll say, man, if I would have, or if I could have, I should have. You don't want to be that way. So take this rule of 72. Please Google it. Also Google dollar cost averaging. And remember these funds I was telling you about, the ones I invest in. If you invest in them or not doesn't make me a bit of difference. But I like the total market fund through Fidelity. Why? Because it follows the stock market. I like the one that follows the S&P 500 and the total bond fund. Same way with Vanguard. I like those too. Why? Because the stock market's not going broke. Hey, right now it's the best time to get in. Everything is low. It's pretty much a fire sale. The economy is going down. Right now, when you get in, you'll get in low. By the time you turn around, your growth will be even more because guess what? When the market shoots back up, that's when everybody else tries to get in. But the market shoots up. When it first shoots up, the first part of it is the biggest part, is the biggest jump. You need to get in now. And we'll talk about stocks because I do mutual funds, I do ETFs, I do index funds. Hey, I also do silver and gold, but I do stocks too. And the last stock I bought was who? Tesla, because it was 1,200. It's 200 something a share. We have to be smarter. Dollar cost averaging. Google that. Rule of 72. Google that. Next time we come back, we're going to dig deeper into index funds and ETFs. We also are going to dig deeper in the 4% rule, or what I like to call the 3% rule, but it's the 4% rule. This lets you know what you can draw off of this money that you're saving and never go broke. I know it doesn't sound like something you ever heard before, but rich people don't tell you this. People who have money don't tell you this. Sometimes they don't want to share. It's like you're trying to keep it all to yourself. Each one teach one is what my mama used to say. So if you listen to this channel, I'll be back to you probably sometime tomorrow evening. Posted another video about this money thing. We'll go into more of what they call dollar cost averaging. We'll talk about ETFs, the difference between ETFs and index funds, so you'll understand. Not much difference between them, but then we'll go into the difference between those and stocks, and that's when the rubber meets the road. So I'm going to go to bed myself tonight because it's late, but I want to get this loaded up because somebody told me, said, what happened to the video? I'm sorry. I didn't get a break today, but I always like to talk to you. Hey, listen, we're made for greatness. We're made to be successful. We're even made to be prosperous. God will provide, but he still wants us to step out and do things. We can't just sit on our laurels and wait for the church to save us or the preacher to save us. The church ain't going to save us. The preacher ain't going to save you. Only God saves. The only thing he worries about is your salvation, not this money coming, not this name it and claim it. If you keep on naming and claiming, you'll be like people I know working into their late 80s and 70s and late 60s. You only want to do that if you want to do it. You don't want to do it because you have to do it. I have a lot of friends that retire, and they retire before they turn 60. And then the other ones, as soon as they hit 60, are retired, and they're living a good life, traveling everywhere from Greece to Spain, you name it. That should be your goal. And even if you don't want to travel, your goal should be, I don't have to worry about what I'm going to eat, where I'm going to live, if I can pay this utility. If the inflation goes up, you won't have to worry about that because you are saved for that next day. God tells us to be a good steward of what we have. I know people has taken out loans to help finance the church. Why? If it's of God, if it's for God, they don't need your money to take out a loan. They should have enough money already there. You taking out a loan, but the person that's over the church won't even take a loan out. It won't even give you $2 to pay your rent. So let's get smarter. Let's give our money. Let's give, but let's save. Let's give, but let's save. And let's save for our future, for our children's future. We can't do this wealth thing by just spending our way all the time. It doesn't work like that. One less Starbucks coffee. one less pack of hair, one less fingernail or pedicure, one less fill in the blank, one less pack of cigarettes, one less of those funny cigarettes. You know the ones. If you can afford to do that, you can afford to save. Don't try to live like the Joneses. The Joneses don't even live like the Joneses. Be yourself. On that note, have a blessed and wonderful day.